The Texarkana Moonlight Murders. Texarkana is a small town that straddles the state line between Texas and Arkansas and is also known as the Town That Dreaded Sundown. The true story behind the Texarkana Moonlight Murders is as chilling as anything seen on TV and remains unsolved nearly 70 years later. The mysterious Moonlight Murders rocked the sleepy town of Texarkana in 1946. Police on either side of the state line struggled to work as one, while the killings themselves possessed the iconic quality of urban legend. Young couples parked at the end of the lonely country road, savaged after the sun went down. In fact, some claim that the infamous campfire tale of lovers who catch a report of a hook-handed killer on the car radio only to discover a bloody hook hanging from their back door can be traced to the Texarkana Moonlight Murders. The killer, described by witnesses as wearing a white mask or sack with holes cut for eyes, was dubbed the Phantom Killer or Phantom Slayer, a name that, like so much about the case, seemed ready-made for a drive-in theatre. Authorities believed he killed up to 5 people in 10 weeks. 3 others, including his first 2 victims, survived their attacks. The first attack took place on February the 22nd, 1946, on a secluded road outside of town. The Phantom approached Jimmy Hollis and Mary Jeanne Larey, a young couple parked in their car. He blinded them with his flashlight upon approaching, then held them at gunpoint and ordered them out of the vehicle. The Phantom then told Jimmy Hollis to remove his pants and proceeded to beat him severely, fracturing his skull. The Phantom told Mary to run. When she scrambled towards a ditch, he told her to change course and run toward the road. He then chased her down and sexually assaulted her before letting her run away again. In spite of the savagery of their attacks, both Hollis and Larey survived. Others were not so lucky. In March, Richard Griffin and Polly Ann Moore were found dead in their parked car at the end of a secluded road. A few weeks later, they were joined by another young boy and girl, Paul Martin and Betty Jo Booker. Booker was the Phantom's youngest victim yet, at only 15 years old. In the first week of May, the Phantom Killer attacked what are his last official victims, a husband and wife in their farmhouse northeast of town. Virgil Starks was killed by 2 shots to the back of the head, but his wife Casey survived, in spite of being shot twice in the face and having to run down the street to a neighbour's house to get help. While the Phantom was on the loose, Texarkana was like a city under siege. Residents armed themselves and curfews were set for local businesses. In spite of the involvement of the Texas Rangers, no arrests were ever made in connection with the Moonlight Murders. Many people believe that a local man named Yul Swinney, arrested in 1947 for auto theft, was the Phantom. His wife confessed to as much at that time, but by law, she could not testify against her husband. She later repudiated her confession. Swinney remained in prison as a habitual offender in 1973 and died in 1994, without ever implicating himself in the murders. In 2014, James Presley, a Texarkana native, wrote what he considered to be the definitive book on the murders, The Phantom Killer: Unlocking the Mystery of Texarkana Serial Murders, the Story of a Town in Terror. In it, he lays out enough evidence that he claims proves Swinney was responsible for all 5 Phantom slayings. Others remain unconvinced. A 1948 cold case involving the disappearance of a 21-year-old Virginia carpenter from Texarkana is thought by some to have been the work of the Phantom Killer, though Swinney was already in prison at that time, and in 1999 and 2000 an anonymous woman contacted surviving family members of the Phantom's victims to apologise for what her father had done. But Yul Swinney never had a daughter. Regardless of the killer's true identity, the town he traumatized was never the same since. Yet while other towns may have tried to forget such gruesome legacy, Texarkana embraced it. When the movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown was filmed in 1976, locals were cast as extras. Every year around Halloween, the movie is screened at Spring Lake Park, near where one of the murders took place. The Texarkana murders remain unsolved to this day. Whoever hid behind that white mask, chances are that he's almost 70 years old and probably no longer lurks on the streets. However, his legacy does live on, haunting the country roads of Texas and Arkansas between the glow of the moon.
With